Welcome back to the Great Give Radiothon at WNHH-FM, your home for community radio, 103.5, live streamed at newhavenindependent.org. We're in the home stretch, folks. We're in day 2 of a 36-hour community coming together to raise money. We're going for $2 million this year. Raise money for 406 nonprofit groups that do great work in and around New Haven, feeding our bodies and our souls. And we're visiting with the folks who do that as they sing or recite poems for their supper. This segment, we're going to find out about the work done at the Guilford Arts Center. And we're visiting with Maureen Belden, who's going to fill us in about why, as you go to thegreatgive.org, don't forget thegreatgive.org, this segment we're asking you to look up Guilford Arts Center. Maureen, welcome to WNHH-FM.
Thank you. Thanks
Very
for
nice
having
to
me.
see you.
Good morning.
What's your role at the Guilford Arts Center?
I'm the executive director.
All right. How long have you been there?
I have been at the Art Center since 2005, so like 14 years, but I've been the director for the past 5.
All right. And how's it going?
It's going well. It's a wonderful place.
Now, where is it in Guilford?
It is conveniently located right off of exit 58. So it's about a mile up from the town green.
Oh, okay, that's nice. That's a very nice town green.
It's a lovely, lovely place. Yeah.
And so what goes on at the Guilford Arts Center?
Well, we have a school, a gallery, and a shop where we focus on the visual arts. In our school, we run 4 semesters. We have about 2,000 students a year, including a lot of kids.
2,000?
Over the course of the year, yeah.
How many hours a week is this school?
We program in mornings, afternoons, and evenings.
So is this like school, you learn all subjects like regular school, or is this a supplement to going to school?
Oh, it's definitely an artistic supplement to going to school. So we have a wonderful, it's actually an old mill building from before the 1950s. The center was founded in 1967. But we have some fantastic resources and facilities. We have a great ceramics department, metalsmithing and jewelry. We actually have a very cool blacksmith's forge.
Wow.
We have a stone carving program where you can work on Stony Creek granite, painting and sculpture, photography, sort of many of the media you can think of.
So when you tell me about that, it makes me think about how setting contributes to an idea. So we have Creative Arts Workshop in New Haven. That's in the former Foundry area, this arts district. And that it sounds like on one hand, you're like a lot of art centers, which is that adults and kids can take classes. And you have that in a lot of communities, and they're an important part of community for how people have stuff they want to do that isn't just earning money at a rat race job and meeting other people and developing skills and expressing themselves and building community. But then you mentioned how being in Guilford gives it a special twist. You talked about the Stony Creek granite and doing that kind of work. I was just picturing what it's like to live in a community where one of the strengths we would agree is the sort of rural and rustic and historic nature of that. And it sounds like what you were describing builds on that. And if you live out there and you appreciate that, this is a way to tap into that feeling and that vibe, right?
Well, it's interesting. The Art Center, actually, one of our biggest programs, which you and your listeners may know about, is our Craft Expo, which is an annual event in July on the Guilford Green. And that actually was the genesis of the Art Center itself. So in 1950s, the Art Center was founded in 1967 as a handcraft center, which was known as for many, many years. But 10 years before that, in 1957, a group of community members put on a craft fair on the Guilford Green. And there were many traditional crafts being presented at that time, like tinsmiths and metalsmiths. And there was so much of an interest in it that over the course of the years, 10 years later, they decided to form a school because there was so much interest in these sort of traditional crafts. That's the genesis of the Art Center.
Are you from Guilford, Michelle?
I am not from Guilford. I'm from Detroit.
What brought you here? Was it this job?
I went to graduate school out in the Northeast. I worked in upstate New York for a long time, and just came to Guilford because my family and I were able to move somewhere, and we discovered Guilford and just loved it.
Well, you talk about upstate New York, and you talk about Guilford. It's very different from Detroit.
Yeah.
and there's that kind of romantic, kind of rustic feeling to it that's specific to the Northeast, different from living Appalachian area, or North Carolina. There's something that kind of feel the wood stove and the flannel shirt and the rock, that kind of work. Is that true?
Yeah, that's another whole interview of me personally. But I've always been very drawn to the Northeast. So in my whole adult life, I've been out.
And
here.
why, as compared to Detroit?
I don't really know the answer to that question. I really don't. I really don't. But part of it, I can say, is because I'm interested in the arts. I went to graduate school for art history. I'm very interested in modern and contemporary art. I did want to be in New York.
Hmm.
So to be New York, to be in the realm of New York is very important to me.
And now you're bringing art to a larger group of people. What is the role of community art? And
It's
when we talk about the arts in general, we have, professional artists, we have troops, community troops. But
hmm
when you have hundreds of people creating at different levels and developing skills, what does that add to a community?
I think it's really, really wonderful, and I think it's important. But I think it's really wonderful, and it's something that I've had my eyes open to since I've been in this job. Um, I think all the things you said at the beginning were perfect. There's a sense of community. There's a sense of community expression. Um, in many of our classes, there's a lot of scaffold learning going on. So, because of the nature of what we do, we have to have beginners, intermediate, and advanced students. Oftentimes, not always, but many times, they'll be in classes together. And there's a particular kind of learning that takes place that's really cool. I mean, everybody gains from that. And I think we're not a degree granting institution, so there's something very freeing about that. There's something very pure
The
about
goal is the art itself.
the goal is the art itself. And also the experience of making the art together. I think that that is a big piece of it. So communal learning is just it's a really beautiful thing to witness, I have to say.
It was for my daughter growing up. She went to Creative Arts Workshop,
Uh-huh.
got really good at clay. And
Yeah.
every morning, I had my breakfast in a bowl she made
Oh, it's
there.
wonderful.
And
Yep.
when she moved to Oakland as an adult, she moved near an art center and immediately signed up. And that's like part of the routine and what it means to be,
If you
how
get
you live your life.
a lot of people get hooked as kids and then, they stay with it. We also have a lot of people who are students who are able to finally come back to it as an adult. They
Mhm.
put it on hold for a while. They
And
did
are
it.
there people like in those early years when they have kids of their own or to advance their careers in those crunch first years, you establish yourself, you get away from something you used to love to do
Yeah.
or pursuing new
Yep.
muses, and that as they pass that point in their life, they come to centers like the Guilford Arts
That's
Center.
exactly right. That's
Guilford
exactly
Arts
right.
Arts
So we
Center.
try to take down barriers that might prevent people, because we would love everyone to come, of all ages, but sometimes that does happen, and it's a great thing. It's a great thing to have an art center that you can go to when you're ready to go.
Part of what makes it a community.
Mm-hmm.
Broader for everyone, where they come to the art fair, where they teach. And I wanted to ask you about the teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it true so teachers get paid stipends for teaching, right?
Yes.
So, if you're an artist and you want to be able to function in a community and have your art enrich a community,
Uh-huh.
having an art center like this allows you not only to share your talents, but to make some money, right? To support yourself
yes.
as an
I mean,
artist.
that is an important part of what we do to provide livelihoods for
So, how many
artists.
artists teach where you are?
We have about 50 teaching artists.
Hmm.
Um,
Wow, that's good.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then, are you able to sell work when you do shows?
Well, yes, we do have we do have gallery exhibitions. We also have a shop. It's a year-round shop where it's work.
And do you share the proceeds? Like, if someone does
We
a
do share the
painting, you
proceeds.
go
It's a
half, or
yeah, it's a consignment. So
and how's that work? Does that generate significant sales?
it generates sales. Yeah, it tends to be seasonal, as it is for many retail
I would
establishments.
imagine November, December, the biggie.
Yeah, it's a big thing, and we do like a big holiday sale. It's wonderful. We have our shop sort of doubles it, maybe even triples in size, and it's a fantastic, very inspiring array. But it's again it serves a function to support working artists. That's a thing too.
Well, we're talking to Maureen Belden, who runs the Guilford Arts Center, which I just learned has been around since the 60s and connects traditions that go much deeper in Guilford. She's part of the Great Give, and so are we. The Great Give is when 406 nonprofits this year are coming together to raise money jointly. Friendly competition, prizes, and matching money, and all in one platform. So you go to one place and you pick whom do you want to give the money to. And that place is thegreatgive.org. Don't forget thegreatgive.org. You go there and you could donate to great groups. In this segment, we're telling you why you might want to give to the Maureen Belden's Guilford Arts Center. Maureen, you brought a poem.
I did.
You want to?
Should I read it?
Please do.
Okay. This is The Red Wheelbarrow by William Carlos Williams. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with rainwater beside the white chicken.
All right. Tell me about that poem. Why'd you pick that
Well, I like William Carlos Williams, and I think, and it's very short, which I thought would be good for radio. It's really profound in a very short format, and I think it's about slowing down and looking at everyday life around you and seeing it in an aesthetic way, which I hope to think that working in the arts and having an art school is something that we encourage and that I'm lucky to be surrounded by.
And in an atmosphere of noise, which defines so much of our society, like William Carlos Williams with that poem, you can spend a long time honing one idea within the discipline of limited space. So I'm thinking like a poem or something you're making out of rock, but you're going to convey an idea and you're going to make it just right and take the time to hone it and craft it rather than just. So is that part of what you get at that? Do you take any courses there, Marie?
I have taken I have taken some pottery. I find it to be.
So many people find that healing. Just the.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. I found it to be very, very challenging.
You do the wheel?
Yeah, I did, and I did some really cool things. I did some cool things, and I had a ton of help and really wonderful teachers. And again, the other students in the class were very helpful to me. The most important thing that I learned was that I was really outside of my comfort zone. It's a whole skill that I'd never done before, and that was huge for me.
Like on the wheel, when you move it, you got to get it so that stuff's while it's moving, that you're getting the proportions right, so it doesn't lean over. You have too much clay on one side, not the other. Yeah.
Talk about like work, really having to perfect something. Someone who knows how to do it makes it look so easy and so enticing. Very, very challenging. And I didn't do a very good job, but I ended up with some pretty cool things. So I started out with a bunch of vases, and they turned into sake cups.
Oh, very nice. That's interesting. Do you have a comfort zone for art? Is there an art you always did growing up? Or?
I am not really a maker myself. I'm an art historian, and I'm a great appreciator.
And what's your favorite area of art history? What did you specialize in?
Modern art, modern painting.
And modern, we're talking starting the 50s, right? 1950s? I mean, modern became a word associated.
If we say modern, I would say, late 19th century. Contemporary, I would say, post World War II.
I mean, like the Impressionists, who were long before our grandparents, even some of them are modern.
Yeah.
Is that going to change at some point?
Some people would argue that it has changed.
Right.
The Museum of Modern Art right now is reinstalling their collection to have how we look at modern art be framed differently. So I'm actually
and maybe it's who's talking too. Like for me, my definition and what I associate in my mind really isn't now, but it is Cezanne or Gauguin or Picasso. Yeah. But what's your favorite? Like, who is there anyone you specialized in studying when you did a thesis? Or?
Yeah, actually, I did. I wrote my thesis on an artist named Ad Reinhardt, who was a very late abstract expressionist painter. Actually uncategorizable. He was a really interesting guy, and actually, they have some of his paintings at the Yale Art Gallery.
I'm just saying, you're now giving me an itch. It's been months since I've been to the Art Gallery, and it's such a great fix going through some of the.
Oh my God, they have such a great
collection. They do have a great collection. So I wanted to thank Maureen Billin for coming in to The Great Give. Any last pitch you want to make to people about why you'd like them this half hour? To go to thegreatgive.org. Guilford Arts Center. You heard all about the work they do and the impact it has way beyond its walls. Any last thoughts on why it's a good idea?
I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. There's so many great organizations that are working with The Great Give. We'd appreciate if you are interested in the arts.
And it's not either or.
I know.
This is this is buffet time.
Absolutely. I consider Guilford Arts Center as part of the buffet. It's a wonderful place.
This is a great chance. We're in the Great Give 36-hour drive, where we're going to support as many causes as we like. Go to thegreatgive.org and you find out about all 406 of them. Mm-hmm. If you got the time, you can even look at their 990 tax forms, but you get their mission, their stories, what they did well. They've been vetted by the Community Foundation so that your money's going to go to the cause you want with a track record. So, Maureen, thank you so much for coming on. It was a real pleasure chatting with you.
You as well.
We're going to take a little break here, folks. This is Slaklanu from the Afro-Semitic Experience Plea for Peace album. When we return, we're going to have one of our great regular guests on WNHH, Patricia Melton from Promise, New Haven. So sit tight, enjoy the tunes, and come back and help us raise money to do good in New Haven.